Red light is on. What's up, everybody? Aaron the Dog here on a new channel, but same old breakdown with my boy Pooh Bear as always, and we are here to break down UFC 22 from Las Vegas, which soon enough we're going to be saying the names of some different places for fights. For example, UFC 261 taking place in Jacksonville, Florida. I will be there live. I am ready with my pre-sale already. I paid the $85 for the ultimate whatever, the fighting whatever club membership thing. Paid the $85 so I can get the pre-sale. Next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, I will be buying my tickets for Jacksonville, Florida, UFC 261. But enough about that. You're not here to hear about what UFCs I'm going to live. We're here to talk about UFC 22 from Vegas. Holland versus Brunson, sneaky good main event. First of all, maybe not sneaky if you're a middleweight like our boy Pooh Bear here, who's definitely gonna have some things to say about.
I got a lot of things to say about that one. I'm excited about it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I am in a little bit different decor this weekend. I'm back in Michigan, where I'm from, born and raised, and so yeah. I decided to wear my orange shirt to match my orange walls, apparently. So that's great. You know, it's
putting me in a great mood. I don't know if you know this. Orange is my favorite color, man.
Mine as well. And I'm just gonna pretend I didn't know that, but we just became better best friends.
Dude, this is like the synchronicity that's happening right now. It's undescribable. It's unexplainable, man.
It's a beautiful thing. We got your whole head in frame this time. We've gone from half your face and up your nostrils.
Dude,
you don't got the earbuds anymore. We got actual cans on you.
I know, man, dude. It's next week. I'm gonna have some decor in the background. You know what I'm saying?
Seriously.
I got some
podcast bear is gonna be your nickname by next time you fight. It's gonna be podcast bear,
dude. I'm just gonna be all over it, man. I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Earlier today, I don't know if you got that. You were actually training and everything. I was sitting on my ass watching fights. I got to watch first of 3 nights of Cage Warriors or days.
Okay.
Cage Warriors. They're doing the trilogy of 3 straight nights. They're coming back and having fights. So Cage Warriors is on.
That's so intense, man. That's so intense.
There's an LFA and bare knuckle fighting tomorrow. I did an LFA breakdown with my boy Brandon from MMA Wagers earlier today on Coffee and KO's channel. So if you want to check that out, we're the only people doing LFA breakdowns in the game, man. Yeah. And I am 18 of my last 19 picks, 18 of 19, multiple underdogs. LFA breakdowns is where it's at, people. I'm telling you, check those out. I did 40 minutes with MMA Wagers today. And we had,
I mean, it sounds like you're leaving money on the table to me if you don't check it out.
Yeah, if you have a way to bet, I know it's not on every site, but if you have a way to bet on it on your site and you're not bet on an LFA, I don't know what to tell you because it's free money right now. And you were seeing this, but
free money is my favorite kind of money too. Let me tell you what.
Absolutely, and that's what we're shooting for tonight. I do have plenty of reads on these fights as always, as do you. So let's go ahead and jump in. We start at the 125 division. This is flyweights. Flyweight never died. JP Buys, the husband of the husband-wife duo who has their fights on this card tonight. So that's for tomorrow, Saturday night, against Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva just decided he's going to stick around for one more fight. And JP Buys is, I think, the beneficiary, if I'm being honest. Bruno Silva's had a tough run so far. He had a no contest against Khalid Taha in a fight where he was kind of thrown down with Taha. I'll give him credit. And then Taha put him away with a arm triangle.
Taha was kind of bullying him a little bit, though. He was bullying him.
He was, but he also tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs afterwards.
So and he looked like he tested positive for performance.
And Taha has never looked like that since. So I'll scratch that one. David Dvorak, he fought him to a decision. Again, he just seemed to be a little limited on the feet, yet comfortable to keep it there. That's kind of what I noticed with him a lot. Then Takir Ublakov. Takir's pretty good. We don't know how good yet. He's got a lot of hype on him, so we'll see. That's what I got on Bruno. JP Buys does something that I don't love out of my flyweights, and that's he gasses, he slows down, especially after the first round.
Yeah, man.
I think he had a rather fortunate technical stoppage against Jacob Silva in their Dana White Contender Series fight, where Silva did not tap.
Yeah,
And they said he was out, and then Silva
and the time went out too.
Yeah,
like, it was like a couple seconds left in the second.
It's a rough one, but a win's a win. JP got in. But the first time he was on the Contender Series fight, that's what kept him out. He had a great first round against Joby Sanchez,
Really
heavily
good.
favored against Joby Sanchez. And then he was put away in the second round. He's shown in a couple of his fights, particularly fights that end up going to decision, that after the first round, he's just not quite the same. So that's what Silva's got to do. Silva kind of knows what he's got to do. He's got to make him work for the takedowns in the first round. If he does get taken down, get up and make him take multiple takedowns, then hope by the second, third round, he can start to take over a little bit with his striking. And I mean, I'm just not sure I can really buy that, but we'll get to the odds in a second. How do you see this fight going?
Man, it's tough because I'm with you on that. Like, anytime I see someone who's a different fighter in the second round, it's really hard. Like, I don't want to pick Bruno Silva, right? Like, I really don't. But I know he's a tough guy, and I know he's going to be there in the second round. And
this is a UFC debut. He's been in there 3 times already. I get its failures, but still, he's come back.
I mean, he doesn't look like terrible in all those fights. Like, he's winning rounds. Yeah, against solid guys. So, JP Buys in the first round, I feel like it's a lock that he's going to win the first round in this fight. But yeah, man, it's just hard for me to not see him. I mean, granted, he's got to realize, he's still growing and developing as a fighter. But I feel like Bruno, he's gonna be the wily veteran in this fight. He's gonna just take his ass whooping in the first round, which is probably what's gonna happen, and then in the second and third round, he's gonna be in his face. That's I hope JP Buys shocks me. I'm picking Bruno Silva. I'm taking him by decision. Okay. I don't see any finishes happening, but decision.
This is one of these fights that makes me glad I do this show, because this is one where I see it right away. I'm like, JP Buys, let's move on.
Yeah.
And wrap it up. But it is one that the more I look at it, the more I think about it, the more I'm not crazy about banking on a flyweight to finish, which is what it feels like a little bit. And if those takedowns don't start coming as easily in the second round, then what? Again, UFC debut there. I do think that for a guy like Buys, he showed a little bit of the jitters with his Contender Series fight, both of them. And I think the lights get a little brighter here. He's had a lot of focus on him and his wife. And, I'm leaning towards Silva as well. And it looks like we missed the money train on this, though, because a lot of people are getting this smart. This is smart money. This is what it's called. The smart money that's come in. Plus 190 was what it opened at. He's now down to a plus 120. Silva is a plus 120 dog. So he's a slight dog, but this is one where if you can live bet, that's what I'm doing, because I am banking that Silva loses the first round.
Yeah.
But Buys starts to slow down, starts to tire. You can get Silva at closer to what he opened at, like a plus 190 line, and then I'm betting him to win the next 2 rounds. I'm gonna go with Silva. And I'm gonna go with Silva to win a decision as well.
Also,
that was not what I saw coming into this.
Has JP Buys ever fought on the same card as his wife before? Like, I know they fought the same night, but have they fought on the same card before? Because I knew some people who actually did that one time, and it did not work out the way they planned it to work out.
Yeah, maybe they have, but they haven't done it at the UFC level. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of factors here. Silva knows he's gone from the UFC with a loss here. I think that's another very big part of this. And yeah, I mean, not as big of a dog as I'd like, so I'm waiting for the live bet, to try to juice it up a little bit. This isn't one I'm at the most confident on, in all honesty, but when I add it up and really think about it and see how they kind of can size up, Silva isn't the easiest to take down by, I think, some guys who might be better wrestlers through a 15-minute period. So,
and I mean, his counter wrestling is really, that's what's really I think is going to wear Buys out, is that he's going to get the better of him, but Silva's scrappy enough to make him work, and that work is going to pay dividends going later on into it.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, let's move on to the next fight. This is at the women's bantamweight division between Julia Avila versus Julia Stoliarenko. Julia Avila, man, Julia Avila. It's really frustrating to see Julia Avila fighting on the second. At this point, it's frustrating to see Avila still at this stage in the card, and it's because of her last performance against Sijara Eubanks, where she laid a complete egg and didn't know that in MMA there's wrestling. And
yeah, 100%.
It's just really, really hard to see a fighter lose like that. But you know, Sijara Eubanks has made a UFC career on doing that. So, you know, it's just one of these things where, like, I don't know what to think coming into that. I'm hoping it was a bad night. She's getting a very favorable matchup here in Julia Stoliarenko. What up, Boston? Welcome to the party.
Boston.
Dog in the bear. Just as, you know, nature intended it. But yeah, what are your thoughts kind of on this? I didn't look into Stoliarenko that much. Stoliarenko, for the most part, she goes out there, and I think she goes for heel hooks, if I'm not mistaken.
Arm bars. Yeah.
If she can't get your arm, but after seeing Julia's overall grappling IQ, I'm a little bit concerned, but, you know, I'll get to the odds here in a minute. I'm not betting Avila where she's at, but my pick is Avila, and I'll take Avila to go ahead and get a decision. Stoliarenko is very tough. She's going to keep running through punches. I don't know if Avila is going to be completely, like, confident here. And, you know, I mean, Stoliarenko is going to have to spam submissions, and I just don't think that's going to work out well for her.
This is one of those funny matchups that kind of reminds me of, like, the old school days of the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just you got, like, two people who are so lopsided on, like, one of those.
Avila should come out and run boxing glove, Art Jimerson style.
Yeah, honestly,
apparently she doesn't know she has to wrestle.
And can I get, like, a touch of head movement? You know what I'm saying? Just a smidge. You know what I'm saying? Just a little head off the center line. Because that like when she was going against Eubanks, like, she was cracking her with some shots, but, like, she was getting cracked at the same time because her head was just, like, chin up, head up in the same spot the whole time. You know
I'm not sure if Avila, even at this point, is a full-time MMA fighter. I think she's still like a geologist or something. Like something, I think she's like a rock scientist or a doctor or something.
Oh, so she's smarter than your average.
MMA fighter. It's smarter than your average Pooh Bear, you could say.
Definitely smarter than 100% smarter than your average Pooh Bear. But, I didn't want to lump all fighters into that category.
There's levels to it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
if you got your college degree, you're smarter than me, probably.
Yeah, I'm going with Julia Avila though. She's 32. She hasn't peaked yet. I thought she was a little older than that, actually. So I'm glad she still has some time to kind of improve overall. And Julia Stoliarenko is a wild woman, though.
I don't really like Stoliarenko too much. I don't like. I watched her fight against Kuchkichnaya. That's a tough name. And she got manhandled in that fight. Granted, I don't think Julia's gonna. Julie's not going to do that to her. But with that being said, I also like watching her older stuff. I was really surprised by how rough her striking looked. You know what I'm saying? She really is kind of like a one and done with that arm bar.
And her defense is to take punches to get in.
Yeah.
It's like her defense is like which is always rough. Let's move on. I don't think there's too much more. This isn't going to be the fight of the night.
No, not at all.
The odds keep it from really being interesting to bet on, except that I do have a rule here, and Julia Avila fits into that rule. Julia Avila is a minus 400 favorite. That means I am not betting her. Julia Stoliarenko is a plus 300. I have a rule in low-level women's MMA fights. When there is an over plus 200 dog, I bet the dog. And if you bet this throughout the year, every single time, you have to do it every time, you will make a significant profit. This is a plus 300 against a woman who can blow it in multiple ways with simply not neglecting to grapple. And so I'm betting
there's
Steranko. My pick is Avila. It's not pretty here, but the price is right.
I'm with you on that one because it's like Avila will probably win, but I can't say with confidence she will. I can't say with confidence
that she wins over 80% of the time. Yeah. And I do not believe over 80% of the time she doesn't screw up in the grappling round against a fighter who is very well aware that's the way she wins.
Yeah.
If Steranko should lose, but again, it's plus 300. Like, I'm taking a shot here. But my official pick, if people aren't concerned with betting, it's Avila. Next fight here at 135 in the men's division. This is Montel Jackson versus a newcomer, Jesse Strader. Cool name. And actually a really, really interesting fighter. I enjoyed doing my tape research on Jesse here. And I think this is about to be a wild matchup for however long it goes. Because Jesse just kind of goes in there and he throws down. Man, he looks to go in and he'll take some
one combo.
Yeah, he's throwing combos. And that combo that he ended his last fight in with the body shots was nasty. And he looks to have a good base. I don't know if his wrestling has ever been tested to the point it's about to with who was going to be an Olympic alternate in Montel Jackson. He was training at the Olympic Wrestling Center before wrestling got taken out of the Olympics. He's shown in a few of his fights, particularly against Brian Kelleher. He was able to show that. We see how good Kelleher is. So I get it. I get Jackson's the favorite. Jackson got a little bit schooled against Brett Johns in his last fight, but Brett Johns is another level grappler from Jesse Strader. I would love to go, with the dog here. I can't. This is a really tough, short notice first opportunity for Jesse. I think Jesse will get wins in the UFC. It's just not here against this opponent. I think Jackson's going to be able to keep him at the end of his punches. As soon as it gets squirrely, he goes to the wrestling, and it should be able to get the job done. Do you see any kind of differences, or do you see as pretty
so here's the thing. I want to agree because when I watch Jackson fight, it's a lot more pleasing, at least to me as like someone who, like, technically speaking, it's a lot more pleasing to watch Jackson fight. He uses his range well. He throws nice, clean combinations. When I watch Strader fight, it's kind of funny because he comes in with 2 body hooks and then comes up with 2 hooks to the head, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what he comes in with every time. Boom, 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 boom. 2 down low, 2 up high. Yeah. And I went back and watched his fight against the Raptor. You know what I'm saying? Side note, Combate Americas, I'm a fan. After doing this film breakdown,
great organization.
I'm a fan of Combates America. They're awesome. But it's crazy because he does the same thing, but he's just like, he does it. And I guess he's just really, really freaking good at it. He must hit like a brick house because against everybody, if you let him do it enough, he's going to figure out some way to get in there and land that combination. And Michael Jackson is a little bit too easygoing for me. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't necessarily have the
just one counter on your against everybody with this counter. Is this combo works against 0-0, it works against 3-4, it works against 2-1. It didn't work against 14-5 and Marcel Rojo, who put him away in a minute.
But he had him hurt. He had him hurt before he got put away, though. No, he dropped him before he.
And then, but then again, 1-3 it worked against, but then 4-0 it worked against. So. Montel Jackson coming into this fight 9-2, multiple fight UFC veteran. I'm not sure if that same combo with a good camp behind it and knowing what they're getting into. I don't think it works.
It shouldn't work. It really shouldn't. But you know what? I'm taking Strader, man. I mean, it shouldn't work. But it's until I see
plus 450 dog. He's trying to dig my nickname, people. He's like, I'm fucking tired of being called fucking Pooh Bear. I want to be the fucking dog. Let me take
man.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead, please. Sorry, I didn't mean. Go ahead.
I'm just call me Riverboat Ron. I'm going crazy, man.
Get the last one with Kennedy. So explain.
I know I hit the last one with Kennedy. I didn't hit any last week, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm hungry. I'm watching film extra hard this week.
Tell me
Now,
why
man,
Jesse Strader beats Montel Jackson here.
well, like you said, this is
But
something where, especially against higher level competition, there is absolutely no way that combination should work. But especially just going back and watching them against Rojo, you know what I mean? I was like, man, dude, if he could get it to work against this guy, who we saw what he could do last week, even though he lost last week, we saw what he could do. And then watching Montel Jackson, yep.
yeah, he's called him Michael Jackson earlier. It's okay. Only one time.
Man, so close. MJ. But I think he's gonna sneak. It's his first time in there. I think maybe they'll underestimate him. He's just gonna blitz. First round, man.
First round KO for Jesse Strader.
First round KO for Jesse Strader. You heard it here first.
Let me go ahead. Yeah, and only here. Go ahead. I love it though, man. You did the tape. You looked at both these guys. Montel Jackson can be lackadaisical, and his striking is not all that great, to be honest. He does a lot of leaning back, hitting that body, and then a quick. I can see it. And
he's a lot taller than him, though. That's the one thing. He might have a hard time catching him, but if he catches him up against the cage,
if you catch that tall guy, it's going to be right on the button, perhaps.
Yeah.
So minus 750 for Montel Jackson. Coming back, Jesse Strader. This is without the finish, plus 475. You're looking at probably a plus 600 or more. With a first round finish, you're looking at a plus 800 bet right there. So I'm going to just have to really start contemplating that after talking with you, because when I doubted you on Kennedy, I was like, yeah, you're like, he's going to look ugly, but he's going to, in the second round, he's going to start making it happen. It's exactly what happened.
There's like sometimes it's kind of like Mike Perry having his girlfriend in the corner. There's some things that like don't make sense in the MMA world that like for some reason people just will them into working. And Jesse Strader, I don't see him having a very long and very good MMA career, but I think he catches
like his Alexander Hernandez, Beneil Dariush moment.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, now I've just suddenly got a little extra investment in looking at that fight, but I love it. I think I really respect the read and the pick there. So our first disagreement of the night, I believe, right?
That's it. I know we're getting too comfortable.
Yeah, I'm on the minus 750. You're on the plus 475. So feels good to be me now.
Are you going by decision or you got to finish?
Yeah. I'll go with you know what? I'll go with a decision, but I would like to see Jackson finish. But yeah, I think he might just look to kind of cruise here. Next fight is at 185 middleweight division. Good fight here.
185, baby.
Yeah, 185. These are two guys who you may be seeing, sooner rather than later. I'm just saying. Trevin Giles coming into a fight 13-2 versus Roman Dolidze. Roman is 8-0, Georgian fighter, undefeated, former ADCC champion, I believe. But
I know they said he competed. Did he? No, he won like a continent. He didn't win the worlds, right?
Oceania's,
okay.
I think. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, but so far, honestly, I haven't seen too much of the grappling. I've seen a lot of him feeling like he is a striker. And the other part I saw against John Allen was a serious question in that gasolina. That gas was leaking all over the octagon. If you win a match, it would have set a fire. And that's the key to this fight. Trevin knows what he's got to do. I think Trevin's got to stretch him. Trevin's got to push him. Trevin's got to make this an MMA fight with a lot of decisions and a lot of just kind of work rate. I think Trevin makes the work rate by the second and third round. He starts to cruise. I could see him winning all 3 rounds also, but I'm all over Trevin here. I think Roman showed the level he's at against John Allen, made John Allen look way too good for my liking, and didn't fight all that great of a fight. And I saw a lot of cardio issues, skill issues, just overall issues that I'm not crazy about in Roman, who is now 32 years old, getting towards that point where he's starting to exit he should be showing the gas tank issues yet.
Yeah.
So I got some questions that maybe USADA's having some effects as well. Just saying. I know Trevin Giles had his moment with Kevin Holland where he had the issue and pulled out of the fight last second. Those things can happen, and I'm just not going to really chalk that up too much here. I got Trevin Giles showed me a lot against Bevan Lewis in that last fight. Trevin Giles, 3rd round finish for a second straight fight.
Now, I mean, this one, I mean, you have a size difference, but with that size difference, you also have a tremendous speed difference. Like I'll give Trevin the credit. You know, obviously, like you said, if we get matched up, you know what I'm saying, I take his lunch money, but his hands are fast as all get out. You know what I'm saying? When he's throwing, it's shocking how fast his hands are for a 185er. And our boy Roman, you know, I mean, he talks
First
a lot.
Fight at 185.
First fight at 185, and he was talking shit in his last fight, not backing it up. You know what I'm saying? Like he was talking to his coaches, you know, and you thought he was going to do something. But what I will say is if Trevin does get in trouble, it's with the submissions, and this guy is supposed to be a high-level submission guy. So really, I think Trevin puts it on him. I'm with you. It's like watching Trevin, I feel like he should be further than he is. I think his grappling probably holds him back. But I don't think Roman's his MMA grappling is enough to, you know, give Trevin problems. I think Trevin puts on a clinic in this fight. And, you know, if he doesn't put him away, then it's going to be an ass whooping.
Yeah. I mean, I just think that Roman 8-0, he's faced some decent competition in his 8 fights. I will give him that. But, I mean, not so far in the UFC. Hiragov, terrible. Sorry. Yeah. John Allen, terrible.
Hadn't heard of any of them.
Yeah, and like it's just no good. No bueno. No bueno. So I think we're on the dog here. Last I checked, and
is Giles the dog?
Giles opened as the dog. He's hanging on as the dog right now. Plus 105. We're barely the dog. The money has been coming in on Giles, exiting on Roman. So Roman minus 135.
Interesting.
Yeah, Giles plus 105. That is your 3rd dog of the night in 4 fights, Brian. Save some for the rest of us.
God.
On to the next one.
On to the next one. Here we go.
We got a Glory MMA product. We know, hey, we appreciate it, Boston. You're great as well. You know. And we got Glory MMA product in the next one. Coffee and KOs, all about Glory MMA. And so it is Grant Dawson finally back. Grant is a legit prospect at 155, taking on the old dog in Leandro Santos, who fights like once a year, but when he does, it's legendary. He has a death touch. He also has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, legit black belt. I mean, he's really been pretty impressive. His last fight, not that great. He got dick kicked like 4 times and won a fight. So, you know, it's like,
that's impressive in its own right. That's impressive in its own right.
We're treading that way. Don't worry, man. Because I'm gonna keep this one the mystery a little bit short. I'm all on Grant Dawson here. I think Grant Dawson is gonna blitz Leandro. And I do think his jiu-jitsu and grappling is going to be well advanced enough to stay out of any potential issues that Santos is going to try to pull off from the bottom. And Santos needs that range to really use that death touch in the striking overall. And Grant is just, I think Grant's new MMA. I think he's really advancing. He's still only 27 years old. I'm not going to say a finish necessarily for Grant. I'm sorry, Steve. But you can go finish and you can get paid a lot more because that happens as often for Dawson. But I'm not sure how the finish would happen. It wouldn't be submission. So you're going on a KO or bust finish. That's hard for me to put on Dawson. But I do think he could win and potentially get a 10-8 round or 2 in there, which I know our boy Brian knows all about those. I don't need to mention.
I know a lot about 10-8 rounds.
Has had several 10-8 rounds.
I've had multiple 10-8 rounds.
Yeah,
not on me. To clarify,
not one. Not
not
one
on
time.
me. Not on me. Not on me.
Exactly.
On
Yeah,
the other guy. Bless
you
their
get
hearts.
finished when you lose. You get
Yeah,
finished. You don't
I
go.
get finished like a real man. God damn it! If I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose unconscious.
Like a goddamn
With a
G.
broken limb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, me too. That's why I haven't lost yet. But
that's how you haven't lost. Undefeated.
Yeah, got that heavy in the jaw.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Go ahead and give me your take on Dawson and Santos, though. I got Dawson by decision.
I'm just gonna go ahead and tell our boy Steven to go ahead and take Dawson by finish, man. I got second round ground and pound, man. This guy is an animal, man. He is, like you said, he's new MMA. Like, this is like right now, this is like you see a lot of the really successful guys employing this tactic where it's like get in their face, throw punches, take them down, wear them out on the ground, get a finish on the ground. That's what he does. And with that being said, our boy Santos, he can put them to sleep for sure. He's shown that he can put people to sleep. But Grant's hot right now. He's active, and I think he's going to put that pace on. He weaponizes pace. He's one of those people that relies on his pace to make things happen. So I think that's going to continue in this fight, unless our boy Santos can catch him with something. So
Santos have the magic. Santos is now 41 years old. He's fighting again. Like Stevie Ray was a really good win. His Martins win was a little bit dicey. He had a split, but then he had the Kevin Lee win, and he had the Rocco Martin win. I mean, he's been here for a while. He's had some really great wins. I'm going against the Magic here. Dawson is really, really a fucking just consistent performer there, and his game plan is pretty reliable. And to be a minus 200 favorite over Santos really says something about Dawson. I accept that. I think it's a perfectly reasonable line. I do think he's parlayable even at that price. Santos plus 160, not quite enough for me. I just don't know how he really stays in this one as it keeps going. I think Dawson has this in most facets that it's going to go to. So I'm going to go ahead and move us on to the next fight. Final fight on the prelims. We're breezing through this one, man, and it's like compared to some of these, and that's totally fine. I think
I feel like we're talking just as much, if not more, than we normally do.
You know what? We're covering these fights as much as they need to. I think you can only talk about Julia Avila and Julia Stoliarenko for so long.
I tell you what, you're really right. This is and even this one.
I don't have much to say here. Marion Renault, and of course, Macy Chazan. Marion Renault, I think, do we have two straight in the 40 club here?
Dude,
she's 43. And still doing the damn thing. She's on a 3-fight losing streak, if you want to call that doing the damn thing. But,
hey man, she's 43, and they were close enough. If you gave her a handicap, she wins a couple of those. If you give her the old person handicap.
And taking on Macy Chazan, who came into the UFC off of the Ultimate Fighter, uber hyped, and then she lost to Lena Landsberg, which you don't like to see. Then against Shanna Young on very short notice, Shanna Young, who shouldn't even be in the UFC. She struggled for a good amount of that fight. It was not impressive performance, and Chazan just seems like a classic nail, or hammer, I should say, where she doesn't know what it's like to kind of fight back, or if the opponent withstands the initial barrage, what to do. It's just, however, she's fighting a 43-year-old
on a 3-fight losing streak.
On a 3-fight losing streak, who gets backed up to the cage and kind of dominated and will survive. She's tough, but
I mean,
I got Chazan. I wouldn't bet $1 on her because she's going to be a huge favorite. And again, I'm probably going to be
not really worth it.
I haven't looked at the line yet, but I'm sure I'm in a position where I'm going to have to be betting on Marion Renault.
And Mariana, she reminds me of like what I was saying about Strader earlier. She kind of throws like 4-1, like she throws a jab across, a jab and across. She just throws it really fast, really hard. but she don't really have much else kind of in her repertoire. I mean, I'm not saying she doesn't have anything else in her repertoire. She just doesn't really show much during the fights. I think Macy, and her last name is Shizon.
Shazam.
Shazon.
Shazam.
I've heard people say it enough times that I should know how to say it, but it's still, I'm gonna just call her Macy. Call her an MC for right now. I mean, she reminds me a lot of like Megan Anderson. You know what I'm saying? She's like just big frame. She gets hit a lot, but you know, I mean, she can wear some bitches out. You know what I'm saying? She hits. She's long and rangy, man. She kind of hits them.
Yeah. So you got Shazam? You got finish?
I got Shazam. Oh man, finish. I don't know if she's finishing her. I mean, because Marion's pretty tough. I got her by decision.
Yeah, I also have a decision. Shazam minus 225 favorite. The good news here, I don't have to bet Marion Renault. Only a plus 175 underdog. I am out of wasting my money on Marion Renault. Just have to waste it on Stoliarenko. So,
I mean,
yeah.
At least you're limited in how many of these fights you have to.
Yeah, I'm saving some money. I'm betting on all of the fights tomorrow for LFA, which again, LFA breakdown on Coffee and KO's channel right now with MMA wagers. 41 minutes of LFA breakdown, people. 41 minutes.
41 minutes. That's your ride to work in the morning. Come on now.
Exactly. And it's just like that's free money if you can bet the LFA cards ATM 19 on those. It's tomorrow night on Fight Pass, people. We are on to the main card. I think this is what, a 6-fight main card? And we've got the second half, the better half of the Baez marriage. Cheyenne.
Cardiovascular, at least. Cardiovascular speaking.
Exactly. Cheyenne Baez taking on the short notice replacement, but girl who I really like out of LFA, Maserat Ruiz. She's a wild woman. She takes some, she gets some. I'm excited to see her fight here in Invicta, or she's out of Invicta, I should say. I said LFA, but I meant Invicta. Yeah, this is a short notice replacement for Baez, who originally going into this fight had a much more favorable matchup, in my opinion. She was originally slated to take on Kay Hansen, a younger grappler who's, I think, fights a little more of a predictable game plan, and I think would have kept the fight a little cleaner for Cheyenne. Cheyenne, she's good. She doesn't have finishing ability at all, and she fights a lot of fights too close as a result. For my liking, she's faced not great competition going into this fight. Beat a 4-1 girl in Hillary Rose to get into the show, but wasn't all that impressed by it, to be honest. And I think she's got a lot of hype going into this fight for maybe some things that aren't related to her fighting, if I'm being honest. And so that's where I don't have those questions with Maserat Ruiz. She's been in there with UFC competition, and Danielle Taylor fought her to a really good decision. Danielle Taylor, multiple time UFC combatant, and she goes in there and looks to finish. She had a scarf hold finish in her last fight, which was pretty badass to see. And just showed off a little bit of the grappling. She's got a quick KO finish. Her defense is a little bit lacking there. And I do think that's where Baez needs to look to work this, is really with her movement, overall volume. But I got a feeling that Ruiz is going to shake things up a bit. And I'm not betting it heavy, but I'm going to bet it. And I'm going to bet Ruiz. And I think Ruiz could possibly get a finish, but I think it could be a back and forth 29-28 type of decision. Either way, I'm going to take the dog on short notice here, the Mexican Ruiz.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I mean, that's what I want to happen. That's what I want to happen in this fight.
Yeah, I might be picking what I want.
But
I also picked against both buys, so no bias here, but I picked against both of them.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, here's the thing. Plus, if JP goes out and he doesn't get a W, and then he comes back to the locker room, and she knows that you can't. There's no way that's not gonna. I mean, unless she's just cold-blooded, and she's able to just tune it all out. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, if I'm on the same fight card as one of my teammates and one of them loses, and that's someone I'm not related to, someone I'm not romantically involved with, I still get stressed out. You know what I'm saying? Let alone my significant other. Holy cow. But speaking of Ruiz, she's probably the scariest looking 5-foot flat person I've ever seen in my life. She's terrifying looking.
She's a little monster.
She looks like she's not someone you want to run into in a dark alley. But with that being said, I'm still taking Baze in this fight. I think I'm going basic on this one. I think she's gonna outpoint her. I do. I think she's just gonna, stay on that. She's a little bit bigger. I think she's gonna use her size. I do think it'll definitely be close. I want Ruiz to win. Because she just seems like a cool chick. I don't know. She seems like a whole vibe. You know what I'm saying?
She's got like the throat tats.
Hell yeah, man. She seems like a bad chick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
well, you're finally on the favorite side here. A minus 365 favorite for Cheyenne.
It goes against everything I believe in to pick a favorite. But
yeah, the money's been coming in on Cheyenne. I think they're definitely on your side. Ruiz is a plus 275. So I was betting her anyways. So might as well pick her too.
There you go.
Bet out of principle here, but I hope it's a good fight. But either way, I mean, short notice for Ruiz. She's in the show now, so good for her.
Yeah, bless her heart. Let's go.
That's what it's all about. So next fight here, 170. This one's a tough one for me to get a read on. Max Payne Griffin, 16-6, taking on Keenan Song, 16-5. So two guys with similar records. Max Griffin now 35 years old. He's won out of his last 3. He did end up, popping cauliflower ear on Ramazin Barajami, which is why he finished his last fight. So that was kind of gross, but it was a close fight up until then. And that guy was on his UFC debut, was only 8-1 at the time and had some injuries coming into the fight. So it did seem like a situation that I think Max should have looked a little better in than he did. And Keenan Song's looked really good in his last 2 fights. However, they've been against Derek Kranz and Colin Potter. He did finish Colin Potter right away. Colin Potter does have a win over Maki Patolo, so he's not completely inept, but I'm just not too excited about this one. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be a decision, maybe even a split. These guys are pretty similar types of guys. Neither guy has both guys have the ability to finish lower level guys, but not guys of their level. So I think it's going to probably be a decision close. I'll say Keenan Song very unconfidently. This is probably my least confident pick of the night. I just think it's such a coin flip.
And I'm with you. Like I'm happy to hear you had a hard time with this fight because I was watching. I was like, I have no idea where to go with this fight because on one hand, like Max Payne, he's got that kind of elusive-ish style. Like he should be more elusive than he is, but he gets touched a lot. You know what I'm saying? He gets, as someone's throwing a straight jab, it snaps his head back as much as he's snapping the other guy's head back. And if Song can connect, that's a problem. But the problem is Song has really short arms, and like you said, against someone who is moving around, it's hard. This is one where I want Song to win. I think if Song wins, he wins by knockout. He does connect. I think Max Griffin will win, and I think he's going to win by decision. I think he's just going to be smart and just like touch and go. I think he's going to hit him and run the whole time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I think you're right. I actually, I do think that is more of the accurate breakdown here, if I'm being honest. Max Griffin minus 200, Song Kanan coming back plus 160. So yeah, it's tough, especially when you pointed out the arms issue and the fact that he's gonna have to get a finish most likely to win. Max is pretty tough to finish, but has been finished a few times. So it's definitely definitely closer than I think it finished. Definitely closer than those odds, but still,
It's probably going to be a boring fight. I can see
yeah,
it being a pretty boring
yeah,
fight.
or they say technical. So
Mhm.
next fight, I don't see a chance at this one being boring. This is at the bantamweight division. One of my new favorites, Adrian Yanez versus Gustavo Lopez. Adrian Yanez 12-3 coming into this fight. Gustavo Lopez 12-5. Yeah, these guys are gonna go at it hard. And Gustavo does have, I think, a little bit of a wrestling advantage, and that's where he has to take this fight. I think if it stays on the feet, he's in danger of getting finished early. I think even by Adrian Yanez. Adrian is nasty. He showed it in his last fight, shown it before that as well. But the way Gustavo went in there and went right to his grappling against Anthony Burkett and took that back and snatched up that neck really quickly against a UFC veteran showed me a lot for sure. He came back from the Mirab Divashvili loss on very, very short notice, where he didn't even look bad in that fight. Man, I know Giannis is the hot flavor of the month right now with that sick knockout and the great knockout in the Contender Series. I get nervous when I see the two flashy knockouts, and then what happens when that doesn't happen? We see the Joaquin Buckleys of the world.
Yeah.
Last fight we've seen Chaos Williams. Also, we've seen this multiple times. Dude, I just got a feeling that Gustavo fights the way he's supposed to here. I would love to see even a possible finish. That would be incredible. But I'm going against my new boy, Giannis. I'm going with Gustavo Lopez to get a decision win. Wrestle, 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 wrestle.
Man, and I tell you, dude, because
so close. This fight's so close.
It is because I was watching Giannis and I was like, man, this guy is a killer, man. This is probably like a setup match, where the UFC is trying to give him something, And then I watched Lopez. I'm like, bro, this guy's a killer too. This is like
Team Oyama. Lopez is on Team Oyama.
Okay, all right.
Like legit grappling camp out there. Yeah, and Giannis is out of Metro MMA in Houston. Jacob Silva, a few other guys. It's a good camp, but it's definitely more striking based.
Well, and it's kind of like you said. I mean, Lopez has showed more with his grappling ability. You know what I mean? Giannis, I mean, they both show great hands. I would say hands kind of goes to, or striking. I shouldn't just say hands, but striking overall goes to Giannis. But not by a whole lot. Not by a whole lot.
No.
But yeah, Lopez is. I mean, I just haven't seen Giannis's grappling as much as I've seen Lopez's grappling, and Lopez appears to have the option where if he gets cracked, he can shoot a double leg and finish that double leg, and that's a huge thing to have in an MMA fight. So I got Lopez. I have Lopez as well, but there's no way this goes to. There's no way this fight goes to decision. This is I'm going Lopez third round finish.
There's a way this fight goes to a decision, but
there is, but I don't want to believe
these guys are really good. So you also have Lopez.
I have Lopez.
Wow. That is definitely one I didn't think we were agreeing on. Steve right here, it feels like no fight on the main card can be trusted as a parlay lock. I would say that's incredibly accurate without giving away the rest of the picks here.
I'm not mad at him.
I have one that I feel is a parlay lock, but I'll get to it in a minute. It has not been yet, and it is not this fight. And I think a lot of people are all in on Giannis right now, man. I think he's got the story of his father, which, as someone who's lost their father, I respect absolutely. How he fights, I'm a huge fan. Contender Series, huge fan. But 3 fights ago in the LFA, he fought a split decision against Kyle Estrada. I mean, it's that Kyle Estrada, 9-7 now. And yeah, it's just, he's got 2 very impressive knockouts.
Yeah.
Most likely he's not going to get a third one. So is he going to be able to wrestle and keep this where he needs to keep it? Gustavo Lopez really looked good in his last fight. Didn't look bad against Mirab Divashvili. I think this one, and the odds here, I am loving this. plus 175 for Gustavo Lopez.
Okay.
Money is coming in on Giannis, minus 225. I think it will keep leaning towards Giannis. All respect, this is a huge win for either one of these guys. It is. Sometimes the UFC does set up fights, like I think they're trying to do with JP on the opener, and we'll see it from time to time. And a lot of times it really does work. I was talking with Brandon earlier, and Brandon was like, you got to look at sometimes what the promotion's setting up and what the promotion wants. Usually it comes in. In the UFC, it gets harder, though, because these are higher level. The next fight, not exactly an example of that. It's a short notice heavyweight fight for Tai Tuivasa against Harry Hunsucker.
Yes, sir. The Hurricane.
Okay. I saw Harry Hunsucker on the Contenders Series lose to Jared Vanderaa.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look too much into Harry, okay? Harry is going to get a finish inside this first 2 minutes, or he's losing after that, period. Or before that. He can lose anytime from when the fight starts to where it ends against Tai Tuivasa, in my opinion. Harry Hunsucker can win for 2 minutes at most. That's it. I'm not betting this at all. This, I guess, would be a lock, except for the price you're going to have to pay for Tai Tuivasa, which eliminates you from betting it. So, Tai Tuivasa, first round KO, please, God.
All right. I'm taking my smart guy breakdown hat off for a second. And as an HR MMA vet, I got to go with the current HR MMA heavyweight champion, Harry Hunsucker, to pull this off. I'm letting my emotions get the best of me, and I don't care. I'm letting my emotions. I'm letting my emotions get the best of me, and I don't care. I'm
going solo from now on.
But man, dude, I mean, it's kind of like you said. Like, I mean, on paper, like, dude, the people Tua has fought are dramatically better than the people Harry's fought, but dramatically. But at the same time, Tua, it's like it's a heavyweight fight, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a heavyweight fight. Like, and both of these guys are your prototypical heavyweights. Like, none of them are.
It's a good way to live, man. It's a great way to live. Just
just heavyweights. Unless you're Francis Ngannou and Stipe, like there's that like top tier heavyweight that smokes all the rest of them. But when it's
a little bigger, that tier, but
it's getting a little bigger, but still like even
neither one of these guys are in it.
No, neither, definitely not. They probably never will be. Yeah,
never.
I mean, if either one of these guys fights Francis Ngannou, bless their hearts. But yeah, I'm going with my daggum emotions, and I'm taking Harry Hunsucker.
My God, it's the most we've ever disagreed on a card here. You got the plus 283 favorite at the open here, which I expected to be higher than that. That is nowhere near a price I'm going to. It needs to be about double or triple that for me to start thinking about Harry Hunsucker. Sorry. I mean, we'll know very quickly.
The Hurricane.
Whoever loses this fight has to be cut. I don't care if it's short notice. Whoever loses this fight has to be cut.
But, man, if Tua loses to Harry, man, I mean Harry, he's coming in short notice with like nothing to lose. Like they should give him a
fight 2 weeks ago in 40 seconds over a guy who's 300 pounds. He knocked him out. So
dude, I saw it. I saw it live.
He's got power. He's got power for 90 seconds. Coming in hot.
Yeah, he can get submissions too. He can get a Kimura. You know what I'm saying? He can get those heavyweight submissions. You know what I mean? Your stress is like going up. The more I talk about Harry, the more stressed out you get.
I hope we talked about this fight longer than it lasts, because that was painful. No, it's not painful. The last 2 fights of this card.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's some rough fights along the way here. But at the end of the day, it's still high level MMA, and these are jokes. We are kidding around with all this. Absolutely. And so co-main event 155. One of my favorite fights on the entire card. Gregor Gillespie versus Brad Riddell. This is classic. When we're talking about old school UFC, this is as old school as it gets. Striker versus grappler. Who will win? I don't think that this is going to be close. I think that we are about to see the levels in grappling that have been exposed for City Kickboxing over the last couple weeks. That they seem to have a grappling issue at that camp. You don't want to be facing one of the best All-American wrestlers ever to do it in Gregor Gillespie. I get he got knocked out against Kevin Lee. That's going to be one of the best things that ever happened to him because not only is it shown over and over again, including in the Coffee and KO's intro for recap shows, but hey, it's a highlight, man. It's a way to more than as well as anybody.
I know
Finishes are a way to really remember your mistakes and your losses, and it's straight up here for Brad Riddell. You get that KO, or you're losing this 7 out of 10 times, 8 out of 10 times. That's where I'm at with this, man.
And in the worst way you can lose possible, just getting held on and to beat up.
Gillespie murders Riddell. That is, basically putting it, lightly, unless he gets lead. And that's for anybody in any MMA fight. So, it's like Brad Riddell is a fantastic kickboxer. But what I'm hearing in interviews, it's going to be great to see what my wrestling is against an All-American. Like, it's like, I don't want to hear that shit. And shout out to that Aussie accent. I know. That was big.
Dude,
Steve Irwin is not behind.
I was like, is
Brad Riddell behind? Nope. Nope.
That was you. That wasn't Brad Riddell.
That was me. The dingo ate my baby. I'm going Gregor Gillespie here. This is my lock of the main card for parlays. Gregor Gillespie gets it done. Wrestles him, gets an arm triangle at some point, and puts him away.
Yeah, man. I tell you, I was fortunate. I've been fortunate enough to train with a guy who trained with Gregor back in New York before it all got shut down. And he just told me, like, his mentality is just ridiculous. Like, he's just like, there is no getting discouraged when I shoot. I'm just shooting, and I'm just keep on shooting until I get what I want. And Brad Riddell, he's super tough, fun guy out of City Kickboxing. This is just a matchup where a lot of people. I don't think City Kickboxing is overhyped. I think they're just getting the best guys.
When you facing co-main event and main event fighters, like
when you're getting the top guys every time, you're gonna lose.
Don't forget what Kai Kara France did to Bontarine.
Yeah. I know.
Not only
I didn't see that coming.
And in that fight, he survived a ton of grappling encounters too. So, just completely write off City Kickboxing as just overrated for losing a title fight and another tough fight. But
I know, man. It's funny how fast people. It's funny how fast people are because people like 2 weeks ago, people had the biggest crush on City Kickboxing ever. Now, after one card, people are like, "Oh,
one card and one John Jones tweet. That's all it takes."
Apparently, that's all it takes, man. But I'm with you. I think Gregor Gillespie, not Gillespie. Gillespie. Yeah, I think he gets a very brutal 3-round decision. I think Brad, he's going to have moments. He's going to get up. He's going to have moments, but I think ultimately Gillespie's just going to be on him like white on rice. You know what I'm saying? He's going to it's going to be like Cain Velasquez-esque, you know what I mean, where he's just relentless with it.
Yeah, I really like Gillespie and Grant Dawson in a parlay that you can take to the bank all day long.
Yeah.
I think those two, I know it's going to get you just over even money, but that's doubling your money on 2 fights in a smaller octagon at the Apex, where it's an advantage for grapplers who rely on the cage to help get their takedowns. These two both will. City Kickboxing, I don't know if they're one-dimensional. It's just, it just is what it is. And these matchups are pretty tough right now for them, or for any camp at that, for that matter. A little while ago, Elevation was unbeatable. Glory MMA at points is unbeatable. American Top Team. There's no one camp. There's no secret formula to the Krabby Patty here.
Well, and I was about to say, especially people want to attribute, gym success to like, so people see what Stylebender's done, who's been with City Kickboxing his whole career. Now, like, fighters are going there thinking, all right, if I go there, I'm going to be the next Stylebender. Well, that's not how it works necessarily. You know what I mean? And so now you're getting more and more City Kickboxing people who aren't City Kickboxing people who've been there for an extended period of time. You know what I mean? Not saying Brad Riddell, he's been there for a long time, but I mean, he's not Stylebender. You know what I mean? So it's unfair to kind of take a dump on the whole gym. But
I think regardless of this, I don't think that, I think that Brad Riddell, he's had 3 fights in the UFC, hasn't gotten a finish yet. We now have to bet on him essentially to get the finish we feel to win this fight. That all along, gives me enough confidence that I would say Gregor is my lock of the main card, which means he probably will be the apple pie shitter on the card. Because I think most people are on Gregor Gillespie here. So minus 250 versus a plus 195 in Brad Riddell. It is what it is. He's a heavy favorite, and I think that the odds are right here. So we're going on to the main event, middleweights here. So definitely got an interested observer here in middleweight, Brian.
Oh, man. You already know what it is.
We got Derek Brunson, the wily vet at this point, versus Kevin Holland, 2020 Fighter of the Year, 5-0. Let's see if he can keep it going into 2021. He had that incredible KO over Jacare to end the year, one of my favorite knockouts of the year.
That was a wild ass knockout. Like that was one of those knockouts. You're like, man, did that really happen?
Yeah, and Derek Brunson really, showed out in his last fight against Edmund Shabazian. Edmund was super hyped coming into the fight, and really put forward a decent first round. But Brunson fought really, really smart, and that's become the narrative of Brunson since that Israel Adesanya fight. Honestly, that was the last time Brunson really fought like an idiot, it seems like. Elias Theodoro, he really fought really close and won a decision over a guy who's very tough to win decisions over. Then he took a decision over Ian Heinisch, where he was really throwing down and pretty much dominated that fight. And then he stretched out Edmund out of the first round, where is almost where Edmund finished all of his fights, stretched him, made him work, got into the third round, finished in the second round, but the ref was like, I need to see more. And then again in the third round right away. And Brunson's looked really good. He's fighting really composed now. He's been in there with the best of the best. Israel Adesanya, Jacare back when he was in his prime, Anderson Silva, Robert Whitaker, Lyoto Machida. This guy has been in there with a ton of guys. He's finished Lyoto. He's finished Edmund Shabazian. This is a great fight. Kevin Holland, been on fire, 5-0, but it's not exactly the craziest of competition. He's been 5-0. Yeah. Joaquin Buckley on short notice. He was losing until he landed that 2-piece combo in the third round. He was losing that fight. Buckley was landing a lot, and then he just landed a perfect combo. Darren Stewart got him down a ton, really, and it was a split decision that he lost. Charlie Altaveros, whoever that is, he came in and failed the drug test.
That guy, right?
Yeah, lost from a slam really quickly, so it's like I don't know what that one is. And then Jacare, kind of dusty at this point at 42 years old. And
to get knocked out that way, it's impressive, but it's also concerning more for the other guy. You know what I'm saying?
Great highlight, but it's like I think if Brunson gets him down, I think that he can control him pretty well. Gerald Meerschaert showed it. A few other fighters have shown it with Holland. Holland, really has still some major gaps, I think, in his game that have not been exposed in the last year of very fortunate matchups. Yes, he was in front of him, but still, I think there are some very fortunate matchups. And we don't, I think, know enough about him. And Brunson, at this point in his career, fighting way more intelligently, I think is more likely to finish within the 5 rounds of the two of them, and I think could win a decision also. But I got Brunson. I got Brunson to get a finish in round 2 or 3. KO.
I like it. Oh man, that would shake. Oh man, that would be huge if he knocked out.
Yeah, big win. A
If he
knockout
knocked
for either guy, but really for Brunson, it's
if
huge.
if Brunson got a KO, man, that would just shake everything up. But I mean, yeah, like you said with Kevin, I mean, everything kind of gets swept under the rug when you get finishes. So kind of like you said, even if he is getting exposed, you know what I'm saying? He's winning a lot, and so just because he's winning all the time, and because he is getting finishes in there, you can kind of ignore a bunch of things. And he's talking a lot of shit, man.
I mean, he always does. Like,
He
there's like if
does.
you go on the UFC Instagram right now, there's like a highlight of the mic'd up octagon in every fight, even the Santos fight where he's getting his ass beat. He's like, he's like, if you fought this way against Stylebender, you'd be champ next. You hear me, Santos? Like, and he's a character,
It's,
man. I love him.
dude, it's like it's one of those guys you're fighting. You're like, bro, shut up, man. What do you like? I'm
Yeah,
whooping
me and
your
Steve on
ass.
Brunson train, baby. Everybody else
Oh snap, man.
what's your pick, Pooh Bear?
Well, and here's where I think things get really interesting. Brunson's not really that big. I'm bigger than Brunson, which is weird. Like you see him on TV, he looks a lot bigger, but in real life, he's not that huge. And so that 81-inch reach for Kevin Holland could pay dividends. With all that being said, though, man, dude, man, I'm kind of once again, I don't know if it's the North Carolina bias in me, but I'd love to see Derek Brunson
This is not my
trying to
word,
shock
just to be
everyone.
clear, but here's Zach Nuts.
Ooh,
Holland
Holland
dusting
dusted
Brunson in
Brunson.
round one.
Round one? No, no way, no way, no way. There's
That's
listen.
slander.
Kevin Holland is not style bender. That's what I will say. Like, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Kevin Holland is not style bender.
He's not
Uh,
Anderson Silva
he
either.
is not Anderson Silva either. So,
He's not
uh,
Leonardo Machida, who Brunson KO'd.
yeah, oof. I mean, it's Derek Brunson. He's like had a sneaky, like good career. It's like you ran off some of the names that he's fought. He's been fighting killers for a long time, and I think
Definitely.
it was something where he got propelled to because of his athleticism and his wrestling base. He got propelled to a level that he wasn't ready for,
Yeah.
and we remember those performances a lot. But now that he's with what is the name in Florida? It's where all the guys are at. They
Stanford
used to be
MMA.
yeah, Sanford. He's with them. Apparently, it's paying off big, getting his fundamentals right, and I think he's sitting there, he's listening to Kevin Holland, the new kid on the block, talking all this noise, and he's like, "Hey, man, you want to come play with the big boys? You want to come play with the big boys? Let's see how you do up here with the big boys." So,
I agree.
I think Derek Brunson gets a decision. I don't think he knocks him out.
Zach's on. We got it, Zach. We get it.
And you know
Yeah,
what? I might be on the Kevin Holland train. If he knocks him out in the first round, I might be in the Kevin Holland train too.
fair enough. Yeah. So you got a decision. I got Brunson by KO round number 3. I'm gonna say. Maybe around 2, perhaps. I think this is a really good main event, and it will tell us a lot about both guys for sure. Which is what I look for on my main events. Minus 175 to Holland. That's what it opened at. That's what it's staying at. Both sides are getting equal money. Plus 145 for Brunson. We got the dog here again. And yeah, that will conclude it. I'm going to just look through real quick, and I'll give you a little. I'll say 3 to 4 piece parlay that I feel pretty good about. Trevin Giles, I really like him over Dolidze and Dolidze's middleweight debut. I like Grant Dawson in there. I'm gonna throw in Macy Chazon as well because why not? And then Gregor Gillespie and Brunson round out my parlay. So either way, that will do it for this MMA breakdown show of UFC Vegas 22. we're happy to be here. Coffee and KOs. Thank you for having us. We appreciate that dope intro as well. Shout out to Zach, Steve, and the rest of the crew. And I will be back with the recap show with the rest of the boys. Of course, the grease is always coming, David. Don't worry. Gustavo Lopez, for one, is some very, very solid grease. But you know where to find me for now. We are over on Coffee and KOs. N is the letter, not and. Check us out on YouTube. We got interviews. We've got preview shows. We've got recap shows. We've got breakdowns of the LFA and UFC. No problem, Steve. Thanks for joining us. Shout out to everybody in the comments, Boston comments, Steve, Zach, Dave, everybody else. If I forgot you, it's not because I don't love you. Pooh Bear, anything that you need to say before we sign off for the evening?
Piggybacking off what you said, Pooh for the UFC. You don't even know.
Let's make it happen for real.
Let's make it all happen. I'm looking at some of these middleweights. I'm doing a lot of breakdowns now, and I'm breaking down how I can whoop a lot of these middleweights' asses. So,
at least 18, Dave. Probably more.
Come on, let's go. Yeah. Let's bump that number up a little bit.
Of course, definitely shout out Coffee and KO's podcast. They just interviewed Chris Dawkins. Awesome, 50-minute interview with the heavyweight contender, 3-time UFC winner now, Chris Dawkins. It's available everywhere, all podcast platforms, YouTube. Check it out. The boys are doing interviews. I'll be adding some interviews on soon, and we do have a special guest for next week, of course. And then, Davis, one more question, and I'll get to our guest.
My man, I'm represented by Iridium, Jason House and Iridium. So I'm gonna say some things off camera. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say some things off camera. I can't talk about it on camera.
Hey, I'm adult. Off camera with me means it stays with me. But next week, Bryan, we will be joined with a special guest. And I just decided to wait until now to tell you. But we've got UFC flyweight contender Jimmy the Brick Flick.
Here we go.
Betting man, everything man.
I have to thank him for submitting Cody Durden. But I have to thank him for submitting Cody Durden, because Cody Durden, he's a Georgia guy, and the Georgia guys, I'm about to start a fire, but all the Georgia guys, they kind of get on my nerves a little bit. They feel themselves so much. They're like the New York of the East, or the South.
The sunglasses and the weigh-ins and everything. But can't wait to have you on. We're gonna have the dog, the bear, and the brick on to break down UFC 261. It is upon us, the triple title pay-per-view banger of a card.
Let's go.
I cannot wait to break down all these fights with these two savages, and I'm just going to be sitting there talking shit as always. So until next time, I'll see y'all on the recap show. Check out Coffee and KO, subscribe, like all the special stuff, and thank you all, and we'll see you soon. Keep taking care of each other out there. Peace out and make that money.